What's going on, guys? We are live. This is our first ever live show on Listen from Commands. It is Monday, November 4th. I'm Sebastian Carcione. That's Brendan Tegethoff. We have a packed show for you guys today on here on Listen for Commands. First off, we're going to talk about Taylor Atwood. He made an announcement that he's going to go to 83. And will he show up at Nats? Will he show up? That's the question. We're also going to talk about Bob Matthews being an absolute mutant. And we're going to finish up with some spicy stuff on r/powerlifting. How's it going, Brendan?
Not too bad, man. I mean, I had like a win and a loss last night. I saw the Ravens kick ass, put belt to ass on the Broncos, and then said, I was happy. I was like, get to see my hometown Bears maybe pick up a win here. And
yeah, no, we're not talking about the Bears. We're not talking about the Bears. All right, it's tough because so you watch something. We've been talking about McAfee a lot because we're kind of trying to imitate a lot of what he does. The trouble with powerlifting is all I want to do is talk about football. Okay, because football, they actually played a game yesterday. And so there's something to talk about, right? In powerlifting, we just don't have enough content to really talk about. So we got to talk about people who competed 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah. And we got to talk about people's training and stuff. And that's fine. Maybe that's the way the sport's going. But I just want to go on the record saying I don't like it. Oh, you know what we forgot? We didn't talk about my massive survey I just put out. We're going to have to deal with it. Let's lead with that. Let's lead with the survey. So for those of you I've got we're doing a bunch of new things with this stream. Maybe some people are watching. We got to put the link out prior. Right. So we put the link out so people know we're going live, and then we put a countdown, and then people can at least maybe drive some traffic from IG. Onto the. If I swipe up, will this turn off?
Yeah.
Oops. Whoopsies. Okay, so I can't go on my phone while I'm doing this. So that's I guess good and bad. But I can go on. Okay, this is all testing. We're testing this stuff. It's fine. It's good. And then we'll keep it short. So hopefully the file size isn't too big when you do want to redo some stuff. So anyway, I did we'll talk about this. I put out a survey. I wanted it to be a massive survey. I wanted to get a ton of data, ton of information about powerlifters in general. So I think federations already do a really bad job of listening, right? I don't know if it's an ego thing. I don't know if it's I know more than you type thing. I know from experience running a business, sometimes my customers are don't know what they want, and sometimes they're not super they. Sometimes I know more than my customers, but buying decisions are very emotional, and so to not understand how your people are feeling or what the general consensus is really, really tough. So I did this survey. Thankfully, a Future Pilot can help push it out there. Abs is going to help push it out there. I networked with a lot of people. I sent a ton of DMs trying to get a bunch of people to do it. And so it asked, a basic demographic information, age, gender, college education, are you in college, stuff like that. And so I wanted to collect data. And initial results came in. A couple questions that were interesting to me was I just want to know what federation people were coming from. I wanted to know what else was on that survey. See, I wish I could pull it up. Oh, I might be able to pull it up on this computer. Okay. Cool. I can pull it up so we can read some of that stuff. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to get to the other topics, and then
I took the survey, and a bulk of it was attributed, or it was directed towards the broadcasting as well.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what. So that's what I wanted to do. Was I feel like a couple things happen. So federations, don't survey. Period. And if they do survey, they don't post the results publicly. So there's zero accountability. If I post a survey and I don't go over the results with you, or I don't publish the results, how can people know what people are actually feeling? I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to kind of go over it a little. And we are going to do. I'm literally going to do a live where I go over every single blip. Because I kind of when you start to read these things, you start to get this general feeling of what like what people are talking about, like what matters to people. I start to get this general feeling of everything. So yeah, it's not doesn't really like it right now. Try again. We have 119 responses, which is phenomenal. A lot. That's like I thought we'd get some decent once Mike was able to push it out there. But so age, gender, and then are you currently taking classes at a university in pursuit of a degree? So the reason I asked it like that is I didn't want to ask people, do you have a college degree? Because a lot of people are in college, so I kind of wanted to know. I don't like education does matter when it comes to some of these surveys. The big question that's really important is what role you're in: athlete, spectator, fan, coach. Stakeholder is like anyone in like a sponsor, vendor, media. So maybe someone who's not competing, who's in media stuff, meet director, event organizer. And then the next one is which federation are you a member of? And I said, please select the one you are most involved in. So if like you do meets with WRPF and USAPL, I wanted to see which one you're most involved in. And then I wanted to know why people chose that federation. So super interesting. Broadly, people answered why they chose. So the reason people chose the federation, if it was Powerlifting America, the reason they chose it was the path to Worlds. Second to that was obvious, super easy, obvious. The second to that was that their handlers could work with them. Their coaches could work with them. And that's super interesting as we talked about in context with Article 14. A lot of coaches switched because of Article 14 and basically forced their athletes to switch. But it doesn't really matter because for most of those athletes, they aren't high level enough for it to matter anyway. People who chose USAPL, it was mainly availability of meets and it was the collegiate level. So, I mean, the survey really is just confirming what we already know. We already know that people are staying in the USAPL, one, because of availability, or two, because of the collegiate level. And we know people are going to Powerlifting America because the level of competition and going to Worlds. So, like, it's not telling us anything we don't have to know. We don't already know, but it's just confirming our priors, really. I mean, I really didn't learn a whole lot. I mean, there were some interesting feedback things. But I really didn't learn a whole lot. It's just more it's confirmation of what my hypotheses were. Next one was on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best. How good of a job is your federation doing? So that was just I just wanted that's like favorability. So when politicians do poll, what percentage of people find you favorably? Powerlifting America was getting a lot of 4s and 5s. USAPL was like getting 3 minuses. People are not really people who chose USAPL are not very happy with how USAPL is going. And so whether or not that's actually true, because USAPL does have the most members, their membership is growing, all these things, people still don't find you very favorably. So you should probably ask why people don't find you very favorably. Powerlifting America, which in the public eye, because of Article 14, has all these black eyes, people are rating the federation very favorably for people who are actually members. Next one was what suggestions do you have for your federation for them to help improve? That was open answer, so like there were a lot of different answers. The big thing with Powerlifting America was drug testing and meat availability. USAPL, people had a lot of scattered opinions. There wasn't anything uniform. People were like, get more pro athletes. Like, like how are you going to do that for USAPL? It was scattered answers. Like, and that's so indicative of just how USAPL is, where they don't really have. Everyone has a different thing that USAPL could do to improve, and they're not really focusing on anything. So it's really interesting. Next one was should Article 14 be removed? The only reason I put this one on here is obviously a majority of people don't like Article 14. I just wanted to get an actual number, like what percentage number of people, and it's 90-10. 10 is actually higher than I thought. I thought 10% was rather high in terms of what
you would anticipate.
Yes, it was high. It was higher than what I anticipated. I anticipated it would be even greater. I just think if people said no, they just don't care. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like me, I don't really care about Article 14.
I was one of the no's. I said like no because I didn't really care, and I see some rationality behind it. It's like
hold on. The only rationale behind it is nefarious. The only reason it exists is so that IPF can control their athletes, and that's like That's fine. It's
but
their
it doesn't.
federation. They can make whatever rules they want. You know, if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, once you made an analogy, it was about like how the UFC is to McGregor or vice versa, and it's like they wouldn't want to let him compete somewhere else.
Well,
It's
no,
like
no, no. So
his
the
pride and
problem,
joy.
I'm not a huge fan of Article 14 in that sense because if the athletes were paid, then that'd be fine. You can do whatever the fuck. Just contract the athletes, like you'd be fine. But yeah, which company makes the best knee sleeves? I was just curious what people's broad opinions are. It's about. Actually, let me go look at the actual response graphic. And I'm by no means a data scientist. Like this is just for me to kind of answer my own questions. It's 88-12 on Article 14 be removed. And which company makes the best knee sleeves? 37% said SBD, 35% said Inzer. Because I know those are the two. Now, what I'm gonna hypothesize from what I'm gonna draw a conclusion from this data. I think because the thing was pushed out on Future Powerlifting's page, it's going to skew heavy towards international athletes. Internationally have a greater percentage of international athletes are going to choose SBD because of the international presence. The question I'm missing on here is I should have said what country are you from? Like not like that. That's a question that is missing from the survey and something that needs to be added. That would help gather more data. And I'm hopefully going to be able to do this a second time with better questions and stuff. I do want to know where people are from because of who pushed the survey, we're going to get answers that skew a certain way. So you have to kind of read things at a certain point. I tried to get some untested people to push it, so hopefully that'll help as well. 18% said A7. From my experience, just looking at meets, A7 are by far in America the most popular knee sleeves. Maybe Inzer are tied, and SBD is a very small percentage. Like I said, this poll is skewing more towards SBD, likely because of the international presence. I mean, people are answering these questions from federations all over the world, which is cool. Next one was let's go back to the questions because I skipped through. Which if any of the meets did you view live? So I just named kind of all the big meets. I wanted to see what the distribution was of that. No, this one was very interesting. This one, fascinating. Okay, this one I found amazing. So, and not really amazing, but it just really started getting I was like, my gears were turning. Which, if any, of the following meets did you view live? Sheffield, IPF Worlds, American Pro, Reach Rumble, Powerlifting American Nationals, USAPL Arnold Pro Finals. I just picked some big meets that I thought a lot of people watched. And I probably should have put USAPL Nats on there because I actually think that's probably more viewed. Sheffield, obviously, top spot, 88%. IPF Worlds, 85%.
Really?
So you're telling me there's only a 3% margin between IPF Worlds and Sheffield. And that got me thinking. IPF Worlds is like 7-8 days long, right? So you're only going to watch like your favorite athlete. And because of how YouTube calculates views, what happens is Sheffield is just this kind of encapsulation of everything. Whereas IPF Worlds is so spread out and you're kind of only watching your favorite athletes, you may be only watching your home country. Because of this, I'm like, the same people that are watching IPF Worlds are watching Sheffield. It's just that Sheffield's one day, and so the viewership is inflated because of that. So when you reverse out, what you're realizing is Sheffield actually isn't getting these crazy amount of views. It's just consolidating that. And so that's really interesting. The IPF Worlds actually probably has similar viewership to Sheffield. And it's really just overlapping viewers. It's not getting in new people. And so sadness, I mean, I had thought, I mean, we talked about how people who are new to the sport aren't showing up to watch Sheffield. Right? Like in large numbers. We talked about this with Mike. It's not a large percentage of people. who are like, oh, my first time ever seeing powerlifting, I'm going to watch it. I think what happens is Sheffield goes on live, all the powerlifting nerds watch it, and then regular people see the aftermath, right? They see the reels on Instagram. They see that aftermath. So they're not watching the live content. They're watching the reel, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we don't need them to watch the live content. I mean, it's a new era. We want people to watch the reels. We want people to watch the TikToks. We want people to see the aftermath. And then hopefully next time they'll come and consume that content. It's a lot like I see companies will like buy an ad in Times Square, right? And then they'll make a bunch of content around that ad. And then the ad itself didn't give them a return, but the content they made around that, the Instagram post, we're in Times Square, gets that kind of pop and that attention. My phone, which is the live streaming cam, has 5%. So I'm going to have to figure out something here.
On the spot ad libs.
Yeah, right on the spot ad libs. Yeah.
Man, I'm still in shock about the fact that SBD was the leading knee sleeve. I don't know if people actually.
So remember, they have a much larger international presence than either one.
Right. That might be why.
That's why they're such big sponsors of the IPF, because they make their bones internationally, entering new markets and stuff. So I mean, that doesn't really surprise me that much at all. But yeah, okay. 5%. We'll just talk really, really fast. Okay. A ton of stuff about the broadcasting. The largest critique, by far, people hate the commentators. Absolutely hate the commentators. Some people talk about how they like the commentary. 60-70%, and all this is public. You can go read through the comments. People hate commentators. And so that just tells me that we probably need to work on that, right? We probably need, anyone who's currently commentating probably has to be ejector seated, and we need to put new people in, and we need to try new people out. We probably need to go to broadcasting schools and find real commentators to do real commentary. Okay? Like, when you get that bad of a report, you kind of have to clear house. Like, I don't think anyone is really like, yuck. That was the big thing I got from the live streams. People did have a favorable opinion of live streams as a whole, but the biggest critique was the commentary, which is like 98% of the audio of a thing. So
I feel like
to be addressed.
There's a real issue there, because I feel like with the powerlifting broadcasting crew, it's kind of tough to find somebody coming out of broadcasting school who has like an interest in powerlifting. It's almost like
bro. I literally did I tell you when I put the story? So the Clippers broadcaster does really good content. I literally reposted this thing. I'm like, it's my dream to have him do a powerlifting meet, and he slides in my DMs and he goes, "Yeah, I'm totally down to do a powerlifting meet. Some of my friends are powerlifters during the off season. Let's do it." I'm like, no, what you do is you find someone who's a professional broadcaster, you have them come out for that one day for the event,
right.
You pay them well, and it solves that problem. And then that person can actually do some more than just do the broadcast. They can help teach you how professionals do the broadcast. They can teach you all these things. I'd be more than happy if you found someone who was good to pay that person to honestly help change the narratives and do narrative development and stuff. But yeah, at some point I am going to have to get the charger. I was not prepared for this. But yeah, and we're live. That's funny. Oh, we're 19 minutes in. Interesting. All right. See, this is where it'd be nice to have a chat, because then I can run away and then do that.
Chat can just entertain itself.
Well, so no, and this is where we could probably go. We could eventually go to like a dead screen. No, it's gonna take me 2 seconds to get my charger. Brendan, entertain the masses while I go get my charger.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just still so shocked, because I think that SBD might have been the lowest quality knee sleeve. As like, this is me speaking from like an athlete's perspective. I'm on that sheet, on the spreadsheet. I actually put myself down as like, I forgot the exact terminology Sebass used, but I was like media, right? Because we do the podcast. More people probably know me as like a producer, podcast guy on powerlifting, as opposed to like an athlete, because I'm, like around like that right below 400 dots kind of area. So I don't think that people recognize me as an athlete. But that being said, I still am an athlete, and I did use SBD for my first 2 meets, and I just they're like knee warmers, man. I mean, like I talk to people around the area whenever I'm at the gym. They're just like, how do you use those things? And they're just like these flabby little knee sleeves. They like flop around like you can't even stand them up like everyone does at the gym. And I know everyone knows what I'm talking about if you are a power lifter yourself, but Inzers are just so superior. I swear we're not even sponsored or anything, but it's like it's just like a whole wash. I got mine for like a discount. Um and they're like so oversized, but they're still significantly better. It's crazy.
Power.
It's crazy to me that I ever used the SBD ones in the first place. But
wait, you were talking. Okay, now you're talking knee sleeves. So I mean, I heard kind of what you said. You're like, I'm surprised. Blah 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 blah. I mean, I think quality is their thing. The problem is the effectiveness of said equipment. I mean, what I hear from people is people want a stiffer knee sleeve,
right,
and SBDs hasn't been able to deliver that for whatever reason. I've heard that like they're just resistant to the idea. They like don't want to like a knee sleeve is supposed to like warm you. It's not supposed to like actually provide support. So I don't know what the actual policy is. I don't know what the actual
that's interesting
is. I do know they make everything in house, which is like, dude.
So they do it on purpose.
There's a reason every major company makes their stuff in China. Like it's not. You're not better than someone else because you don't make your stuff in China. You're just nerfing yourself. You're literally charging you're literally paying, you're forcing your customers to pay more because you don't manufacture in China. Dude, a welder in the United States is making like $70 an hour. A welder in China makes like $3-4 an hour. Like, and so that's because that's just economics. Like you're like, there's a reason America's moved away and we're now a service economy. We're just not manufacturing anymore. Like when humans make your shit and robots don't, it becomes inefficient. It's just silly. And it's like you can continue to have that philosophy all you want, but the second someone comes with the same product at half the price, you're just going to lose. Like it's just not a sustainable thing. Right. I don't know enough about manufacturing to like really have an opinion. I mean, I talked to my client who's in importing, and he tells me all the stories, and I can only take his word for it. And I can only look at the numbers. I can look at the numbers that are public and kind of make assumptions, but it's really, really hard. I know Gym Reapers is on the up and up, but Gym Reapers, I'm not exactly sure where they manufacture everything, but I got to imagine it's not in America. But like, they're a huge company, the number one on Amazon. Like, their products are okay, and I'm guessing they're going to get better, and they've got some IPF approved stuff. So, you know, I guess let's skip that. I mean, I don't really want to talk about knee sleeves. I really don't care. I mean, pick the knee sleeve that's best for you and try them all and run it.
Yeah, no judgment on my end.
Sure. All right, next. Look at that switch. I switched to the Taylor graphic. Will Taylor Atwood show at Nationals? Okay, Taylor announced that he's officially going 83. He was too scared of perk, so he decided to go 83. He said it was because he's getting older and, you know, injury prone, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, yep, And so now instead of getting clapped by one guy, he's going to get clapped by 5. Like I guess it's believable because of how good Joey B has gotten. I guess it's believable that he went up to 83 just for health and stuff, and that's fine. But if you went up for health, you better show up at Nationals. You better be healthy enough to show up at Nationals. I personally don't think he gains. So he gains nothing from going to Nationals because he's going to lose no matter what, and because he's going to lose, it's going to ruin his legacy. So I just think he doesn't show up. The only other option he has is he can show up, take 4th or 5th, and then like leave his shoes on the platform. For those of you who don't know, like wrestlers, when they quit, they leave their shoes on the platform. He could retire. He could retire, and then he would still be the story. He could say, hey, I had a great career. I'm going out on a high note. I just wanted to come back one more time. He could do that, but I don't think so. I don't think he shows up. And like he's either not going to show up. There's no way he shows up and loses. and doesn't retire. Like he has to. I just don't see him as someone who's going to show up and just take an L. I just don't. I don't think that's going to happen.
That's
I'd
a
like to
good
be proven. I mean, at this point, there's really not even anything going on because he's not going to go head to head with Perk. The 83s are an absolutely stacked class. He's not going to out total Joe. He's probably not going to out total Russ. He's not going to out total Delaney. So he's just like I said, there's one or two things going to happen. He won't show up, and then he can still talk about blah blah blah. Going to beat Perk, but I just don't. I don't.
Yeah, I'd say that like his philosophy in moving up kind of forebodes for retirement. Like I think that you made a really good point there in saying that like he could be doing this meet just to like retire, but I kind of reside more in that boat where it's like I think that he might go up there, lose, and retire. As harsh as
I don't think he goes up there, loses, and then like goes and does like SPD Raleigh, and then like I just can't see that. I mean, I just can't at all. I think he's opened the door to that possibility. I think that's most likely what's going to happen. There's just no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see any other sort of scenarios. I see no.
Yeah, there's only
like,
one.
He's definitely not going 74 because he just get crushed, and that would maybe ruin his legacy. Because in this sport, like it's not like the other ones where like the LeBron and MJ debate can happen forever. Forever, it can happen forever because you can compare eras, you compare different stuff. In powerlifting, numbers are numbers.
That's true.
Like, bro, numbers are numbers. Like that's it. Like most real sports fans aren't like powerlifters do this stupid thing where they're like, oh, but how many world titles do you have? And it's like that's not you have one of the few sports with an objective metric. Who's the best of all time?
Right.
Like if Usain Bolt had he just gone to one Olympics, would have been the greatest of all time. The people who are the greatest of all time have the records. That's it. Other than that, that's it. Like that's the end. Like Michael Johnson isn't the greatest of all time. He's great, but just because he had all those titles and stuff, he's not because people have come and surpassed him. You know, like you can't be the GOAT and not have the record.
I can't believe you just said that in the city of Chicago.
What? I said Michael Johnson, not Michael Jordan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Jordan.
No, I'm talking about Michael Johnson. I'm talking track. But anyway, I mean that's what I have to say about Taylor. It's probably over. Like it's probably on the other side. But let's talk about current events. We got Bobb, continuing to be an absolute mutant, taking 2100 for triples. Made a super entertaining video. I loved it. So this is where we can pop those videos up. Like if we do pre-production, we can pop those videos up, like where he's saying and stuff. We can do so much. So thank you guys for the three of you watching. This new setup is actually really cool. It's got all the different. We can go live. We can do all these different things. We can bring in guests to pop in. I can do these like cool little graphic type things, and then we could hopefully like put some videos in. But they did a back and forth that was so good. Dude, if Bobb catches Rondell, that's gonna be one hell of a Worlds. Too bad Worlds is so lame, but that would be so cool.
I don't think that betting against Bobb at this point is ever gonna be a good wager. He's
especially how light his body weight is, the upward momentum he has. Now, remember, when you're at a certain point, the extra body weight is not necessarily going to be a good thing. It's going to positively impact your squat and negatively impact your deadlift. And so, I mean, I think Bobb's probably pretty conscious of that. I think he's got a lot of room. I mean, you look how small his waist is. He's probably got plenty of room to add some weight. He's also probably like drinking tons. When he weighs in, he's weighing in thick as fuck. Like he's weighing in with tons of body weight on him, like tons of water, like no consciousness of any of that stuff. So he's probably, if he didn't drink water, he'd probably be at that 105. But yeah, I mean, he continues to be a mutant. If we were rolling the clip while we talked over it, that would be cool. I would love to do that. We'll have to cut that up. That is a lot of pre-production work, but I think that'd be kind of cool. But yeah,
Always happens.
it's sad we're not going to see him at Sheffield. But that's basically it. All right, we ready to move to R? You got anything on that, or we're going to move to R/powerlifting?
No, not on that. I'm just still thinking about like how horrible of a decision it would have been for Taylor to move down to 74s.
Or stay at 74? Yeah, that would have been.
Well, Perk
really
like his last meet totaled over 430 kgs, and he's 74 right now, and I mean Taylor was like a hefty 80 some kgs when he did his meet. He'd have to cut 10 pounds and then put on like an extra at least 9 kgs to his total.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, when we saw what he weighed in at, we knew he wasn't going 74. That would be kind of cool though. But yeah, no. All right, today we're gonna do R/powerlifting. All right, today we're talking about the untested side. What a joke that is. So if you think leadership in on the IPF side is bad, oh my God, so guys, what's so great about not great, but like leadership, you get measured. What's great about leadership is you get measured by your results, right? If you win the Super Bowl every year and you're a general manager, you're never getting fired, right? Never. If you win if you're the Chiefs general manager, you have the most secure job in all of sports, right? And it doesn't matter that you have Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter that you have Andy Reid. You're secure because no one wants to change the status quo if you're doing well, right? The IPF, not by my standards, but by most people's standards, is doing a great job. They've got Sheffield to look forward to. They do Worlds. It's well produced. People don't like Article 14, but Article 14 doesn't matter if you're in the IPF. So if you're in the IPF and you're actually voting, you don't care. So we're going to talk about WRPF and Pilots United. So someone shared this email. Now, keep in mind, this email could have been fake and could have been all these things, blah, 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 blah. So it says, I've shared this a couple weeks ago and taken it down due to privacy concerns. I've removed emails and a link. It's not a surprise about Russell Kern and the WRPF. Plenty of rumors circulate over the past years. What is disturbing is that Anna Perez was the leader of the WRPF, helped Russell cover up for years, and now the president of Powerlifting United. In this letter, Anna admits to cover up sexual harassment, misconduct, prostitution, drug dealing, blah, 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 blah. She was complicit until she stopped getting paid. When people question these changes online, Powerlifting United response had either been, we won't discuss the details, or give no reply, deleting dozens of comments. Now, I'm not involved with WRPF or Powerlifting United. I really don't care. From what I gather, like most of the stuff they do is it's for untested. It's who want to do gear. They have some really for me, I'm the pie in the sky guy. I have some really pie in the sky ideas. The shit they're talking about is pie in the sky, but it's not even a good flavor. Okay, it's like pie in the sky, but it's like spinach and glass pie. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah, it's not good pie. Their ideas are bad. They don't have good ideas. Okay, like I have really good ideas that are just really fucking hard and really fucking crazy. Like, some of my more recent ideas may be a little more questionable, like the frequency of competition, but I think that'll all get fixed in due time. Okay, so she was the vice president. She resigned. This is just such a complicated story, and it's also so irrelevant. I don't really want to touch on it, but it was put on R/powerlifting, and since we do R/powerlifting, I want to talk about it. But like, I think it's just a bigger picture of like the biggest problem with all this drama is it's happening irrelevantly, right? It's like, oh, there's drama at Planet Fitness. No one gives a fuck about Planet Fitness. No one cares. Okay, so she's resigning, and she cites underpayment, consistent underpayment for my role as an executive, and the responsibilities that come with it. Under my leadership, we went from over 220K in revenue to 450K. That's not a lot of revenue. Like a single Starbucks location does like $4 or $5 million a year. So that's not a lot of revenue. And so, also, how much do you expect to get paid as a percentage if you're only making 450K? like a business that makes 450K, like the top level person's making like 50K. So I don't know what they're getting paid. So I don't know. Constant issues and lack of transparency with WRPF funds. You have admitted to the this is saucy. You've admitted to the misuse of WRPF funds to finance unrelated side businesses and personal endeavors, aka your freaky tiki sex toy novelty company and your adult themed content production. You spent your time investing that instead of the WRPF. You accumulated unnecessary debts because you didn't want to give anyone else access to accounts in order to make payment. Okay, so obviously someone else leaked this email to like make her look bad, and it does make her look really, really bad. Because she's complaining about all these things that, like, dude, I would have quit. You quit. If you hear about this stuff, you gotta quit.
Freaky tiki sex toy novelty.
This is absolutely insane. I mean, like, regardless, I kind of want to read some more of the comments. This is just juicy. It's just like,
I love it. This is the top. I'm in the same boat.
This comment is great. I just want to read the comments because it's just kind of funny. Incredible sociological study here about powerlifting culture in general. Item 1, fuck you, pay me, get your shit together. Item 23, why are you doing sex trafficking? And the one in the comment is, I love it.
That guy definitely has no involvement at all. He's just here for the ride. Just like us.
This is hilarious. Yeah. Someone's like, you're entitled to whatever opinion you have about this email situation, but in all seriousness, what are your goals with this post? Aside from raising awareness, what do you actually expect people to do after being enlightened by this information? It doesn't matter, guys. You get to draw your own conclusions. This person is hilarious for posting this. It's really oh, here we go.
Smells like Steve.
Okay, this post should read Russell Current corruption and how a new Fed was started to get him out of powerlifting. But you seem biased against these individuals, so I guess it's irrelevant. As people have stated, every Fed has their own issues. The Fed drama in the last 24 to 36 months hasn't caused mass migration. It's caused people to leave the sport. Yeah, this is true. So when I first ran my USAPL meet in 2022, everyone was really united, right? And honestly, I was part of that division. I'll admit when I switched to Powerlifting America, but I don't regret it at all. USAPL has done a horrible job. Everyone thinks they've done a horrible job. Like, and it sucks that people are leaving powerlifting, but like, they'll come, like, not that they're going to come back. It's just like, we don't have the right structure to retain people anyway.